But number 5, we've got Michigan. All right, Michigan loses a ton from last year. All right, they've kind of went on this really good run with McCarthy, with Blake Corum, with Jim Harbaugh. They're all gone out the window. All right, Sharon Moore is the guy now. Now, Sharon Moore, with that being said, he has wins over Penn State and Ohio State already under his head coaching belt. Now, he's had an offseason as the actual head coach now, so we'll actually get to see what he can do. You've got Donovan Edwards at running back. He's going to be the bell cow. They're pretty good on the offensive and defensive line. And with their schedule, again, I don't take schedules into effect as far as these power rankings are concerned, but as far as Michigan's schedule is concerned, they've got a pretty favorable schedule. But the real question mark for them is going to be Alex Orji, a quarterback. All right, we know he can run. He kind of had some wildcat appearances last season for him. But can he throw? That's the question we're all wondering, and that's kind of the question that's going to set Michigan apart. If Alex Orji can actually pass, they might be pretty dang good this season because they've got a lot of pieces. I know they lost a lot, but they've got enough pieces around them, around Alex Orji, to have success if he can actually throw the ball. Because Donovan Edwards at running back, I don't know if he's better than Blake Corum. Blake Corum put up some really good numbers, but I think Donovan Edwards may actually be better than Blake Corum. Don't forget Blake Corum was a Heisman finalist not too long ago. But look at what Donovan Edwards did against Washington in the national championship. As long as Alex Orji is inept enough, if he can actually get the ball downfield, like even with J.J. McCarthy, they didn't ask him to do that much. And Orji's a better runner than McCarthy. I don't think he's a better thrower. We'll see. But he kind of gives you a different option. You know, he could take off and run. But again, in this offense, if they don't change the offense too much, now Harbaugh's gone, so we'll see. But if they don't change the offense too much, I think Michigan will be all right if Alex Orji can actually hit. Our number 4, Iowa. All right, Iowa, we know their defense is always stacked. Question with them is always their offense. All right. Now, number 1, their quarterback as of right now, going into this season, is going to be Cade McNamara from Michigan. You may remember him. J.J. McCarthy kind of took his spot at Michigan. Now, I don't know if he's going to be ready for opening week at Iowa. All right, he missed last year with an injury. Some rumors are he might not be ready. But if he is ready, if he is healthy, I think that's going to help that offense out because you actually have kind of a passing threat then, I think. But their defense is good enough to keep them in ball games. We've seen that before. So if they can just have an offense that can at least get some downfield momentum passing the ball, and if Cade McNamara is healthy, I think they will be able to. But if they can get some type of offensive production passing-wise, there's no reason Iowa can't be a top 4 team in the Big Ten this season. Our number 3, Oregon. Oregon, coming over from the Pac-12. All right, a lot of people are really high on Oregon. I have them in my preseason top 10. I think they're going to be a college football playoff team. I think I got them at number 8 maybe right now. I've seen them in a lot of people's top 4s, which is understandable. They're loaded from the transfer portal. Now, they lost Bo Nix from last season, but they bring in Dylan Gabriel from Oklahoma. I think he's better than Bo Nix. I think Dylan Gabriel is probably the favorite, if you ask me right now, to win the Heisman this season. Now, Oregon is going to be really good despite losing Bo Nix and whatever else they lost receiving-wise because Dylan Gabriel is going to put up some really good numbers. But the main reason I think they're going to be better than they have been, talking about Oregon, is their defense. Okay, they load up in the transfer portal. They bring in a couple of guys from the portal defensively that have been really good at other places. Okay, like we bring in cornerback was a Muhammad from Washington. Oregon's loaded up on the defense, and I think they're going to be pretty good. Number 2, I've got Penn State. All right, similar to Oregon, I think they've loaded up in the transfer portal defensively, and their defense is pretty good already anyway. They've got a lot of guys coming back in the secondary. Now, 2 and 3, I could easily flip-flop them. I don't think there's a clear favorite among them. Like Oregon, I think, is more talented offensively. Penn State, I think, is more talented defensively. Now, Penn State, you've got Drew Roller at quarterback still. Now, I haven't been sold on him when I've watched him. He's kind of been a little questionable to me. But I think their defense is good enough. And them and Oregon don't play each other, to be honest with you. So we're really not going to know unless they play each other in the college football playoff or something. But they do both play Ohio State, so we'll kind of be able to get a little read on, where each of them are. But besides Ohio State, I don't think anybody's beating Penn State or Oregon, and both of them might actually shock me and beat Ohio State. You never know. I think it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility. Excuse me. But next up, we've got Ohio State. All right, Ohio State is number 1 for me right now. I think they're the team to beat in the Big Ten right now, and maybe all in college football. Now, Ryan Day, we know the question marks around him, but Speaking of what Penn State and Oregon have done in the transfer portal, Ohio State is loaded up in the transfer portal. All right, they've kind of reshaped a lot of their team from the portal. Are you bringing number one Caleb Downs, safety from Alabama? That's an instant impact player right there. You bring in Will Howard at quarterback from Kansas State. Now I'm not the biggest Will Howard fan, and I wasn't the biggest Kyle McCord hater either. He wasn't great, but I don't think he was just the worst thing ever, like a lot of people thought. I don't think he was necessarily the problem. Now, Will Howard's going to offer a little different element. He can run a little more than you might think by looking at him. But he's made Big 12 championships before at Kansas State, talking about Will Howard. So we'll see how that translates. Now, your backfield's going to be pretty nasty. You got Travion Henderson back. We know what he can do. You bring over Quinshawn Judkins from Ole Miss. You've got Ibuka back at wide receiver. Now, you lose Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think they've added enough pieces in the portal to be really good this year. And Ryan Day, I know he gets a lot of crap, but overall, I don't think he's been that bad. He hasn't been able to beat Michigan these past few years, but this team's been loaded. I mean, nobody beat them last year. They've been stacked. Now, losing to their interim head coach, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that should have happened, but it did.